Before we get to last night's game and how, bad the Browns played and everything else, I just got to get something off my chest that's been bugging me ever since I first heard the term. Every year, for some reason, the NFL thinks that it has to make new rules, whether the rules are needed or not. And a lot of the rules they've made up lately are just so insane, ridiculous, and don't make any sense. As a matter of fact, they detract from the game. But they make the rules anyway because they're being paid to. But one of the new rules has driven me up the wall since the first time I heard it. As a matter of fact, when I first heard the rule and the term, I stopped in mid-chew. I had a mouthful of pizza, I think, and I heard the term defenseless player, and I stopped chewing. I'm like, oh, what? A defenseless player. There is now a defenseless player in football. And when I heard that, I'm like, wait a minute. You're covered from head to toe in pads. You're wearing an almost bulletproof helmet. A lot of the guys even have their own face visors, like face windshields. And some of the guys that do even tint them like their cars. So I'm like, how can you be a defenseless player if you're covered from head to toe in pads and you have a helmet? And you can run away. I mean, that's a basic defense. Run away from the danger. Or even better yet, don't walk onto the football field. I'm like, there's no such thing as a defenseless player. What in the world is this? And I have players, college, pro, high school players, that disagree with me. And usually it's former wide receivers, former running backs that disagree. They say, hey, you try getting hit like that, man. You don't see the hit coming. Like, right, that's part of the game, and you know it. You know you're going to get hit. You know you're going to get tackled. You know you're going to get hurt. 90% of the guys on the sidelines are hurt. The other 10% are second and third stringers that don't play. And then, of course, there's the place kicker. Place kickers are never hurt. As a matter of fact, I don't think they should be able to wear pads or helmets or anything because you're not allowed to touch them. Why in the world let a guy wear a helmet or make him wear pads if he can't be touched? He's like a soccer player. Give him a polo shirt, a collared shirt, a golf shirt, something to wear when he goes out there and does his thing. But everybody else, helmet, pads, chin guard, visors, all this stuff. Protection from head to toe. On top of that, they condition themselves. They lift weights to get stronger. They do run drills to get quicker, to avoid being tackled, to play the game quicker, faster, harder, better than everybody else. Part of the game is getting hurt, and everybody that's playing it knows it. If they didn't, they wouldn't wear pads and they wouldn't practice. So what in the world is a defenseless player? Well, I got to thinking, it's like, well, they all know they can get hurt, but as soon as you start paying a guy a lot of money, the person paying the money doesn't want them to get hurt because they're paying them a lot of money. When you have an owner that suddenly shells out $10 million to coax you to sign a contract, it's a signing bonus, $10 million that you get to keep even if you don't play a single down. But because you signed the contract, now you're obligated, if you're fit, to play every game as long as you can, and they'll pay you $6 million a year for the next 4 years to keep playing for them. So you are now an instant millionaire. And $10 million of it is free. You don't have to pay it back. You don't have to play another down. So if you go, heaven forbid, you walk out of the meeting, walk across a parking lot, and get hit by a bus and can't play, you still get $10 million that you get to keep. So suddenly now, you are an investment for a millionaire. And that millionaire wants a return on his investment. With the current collective bargaining agreement and the copyrights and the TV rights and the broadcast rights that the NFL has with the networks, the NFL makes about $9 billion every single year. $9 billion that the whole league makes, and it splits it evenly among all the teams. It's kind of a socialist deal, actually. It's kind of, for lack of a better term, it's a communist type setup. But that's the way the NFL works. Everybody gets a share of the yearly $9 billion profit. And once the current contract with the broadcast networks goes away and the new contract takes place, they're going to jump from $9 billion a year to $22 billion a year. Maybe more. That's a lot of money. And even though they're splitting it up evenly, that's still a lot of money. And you make more money by selling tickets, selling memorabilia, just stuff. So you're going to buy the most valuable players that you can buy, and you're going to pay them a lot of money to play. And they can't play for you if they're hurt. So you go to the NFL and you're like, hey, guys, I just paid Barry here $10 million to show up. Wouldn't that be nice? And I'm going to pay him $5 million a year for the next 4 years. But the $10 million he gets to keep. So it would be nice if he could play every down of every game of every season until the contract's up. So is there a way that you guys could come up with a method by which he doesn't get hurt? I can't afford to have him hurt. I know he's got to play by the rules, and everybody's got to play by the rules, but there's got to be something you guys can do to make it less likely for Barry to get hurt so I can make the $10 million back. So the NFL sits down with their brain trust. They have a brainstorming session. Sit down with the rules committee, and they're like, hey, let's just make it illegal to hit Barry like everybody else. You can't tackle him certain ways now. You can't grab him by the back of the jersey and pull him down. That's called a horse collar. You can't spear him with your helmet because that's just mean. But we got to come up with a term that's going to make all that stuff illegal so that he can't get tackled that way anymore. To lessen the likelihood that he gets hurt. Let's call him a defenseless player. And since he's a defenseless player, you can't tackle him certain ways anymore. You can tackle everybody else, but you can't tackle guys like Barry. Why? Because by calling him a defenseless player, you are making it illegal for the regular rules of the game to be used against him and on him. You prevent the rest of the players on the field from playing the legal rules against Barry because Barry's protected for one reason. He's expensive. So it's not to make the game safer because everybody on the sidelines is hurt. Everybody's got broken bones, sprained ankles, cracked ribs, and concussions. He's not a defenseless player simply because he doesn't see the guy coming behind him to tackle him. He's a defenseless player because he's being paid a lot of money to play the game. And if he gets hurt playing the game by the rules, then he can't make money for the owner. He's not a defenseless player. He's not defenseless at all. He's just really, really expensive.